that cool? Flaky. I thought
Okay, Boomer.
Are we live? Everybody check. Make sure. Are we live this time?
Are we live?
I think so.
Yes.
We're doing it live. What's up, boys? How you doing today?
Pretty good. I just boomered some tech right before trying to be all cool. And it's
out.
about to be working. Yeah. Jeez.
What's up, chat? How you guys doing? Got Sea Captain here. Matt Rissman, Matt Cave, Darth Maximus, good old Vori, Average. How you guys doing today? Glad to have you. How are you? So, kind of maybe a tamer one today. A little bit more relaxed until we get to the end of the stream, and then we can start letting tempers flare and fly and doing all this kind of crazy stuff. But I wanted to start off talking about our gallery episode. I mean, that was awesome. It was beautiful to see. I'm super happy about it. Mixed reactions from the fandom menace, but yeah.
I got housed by the mouse twice because of that.
You did. What were you thinking?
I didn't give a shit. I was on it. I was like, let's do it. I don't care. Let's see if they're paying attention today.
I'm shocked that you made it as long as you did because I tuned in.
I am also. And as soon as you tuned in and said something, it was like, done.
They're watching me, bro.
It's all X-Wing's problem.
It is. It's all X-Wing's fault.
I said, bring it, Mickey. And they were like, nope, too much. Cut it.
Too far.
Too far. Too much. But yeah, it's good. I mean, you know.
Hey, there he is.
Let him meet
What's
you.
up,
Hey, you made it.
What's going on, Leia? How you doing? John, how are you, friend? Good to see you.
I got a Leia too.
I thought you were sleeping, bro. Go to bed. He's tired. Oh yeah, there you go. So what'd you think, mister? What'd you think of the episode?
You know, it was pretty cool. Obviously the first season of the gallery was unique in that it was like each episode focused on a different aspect of filmmaking. And then when we got the season 2, if I remember right, it was just like a long documentary. And so then to get the episode 16 end specifically just focused for like an hour pretty much on Luke and Mark, that was pretty cool. I know we can talk about it later. It's funny because I saw in Discord you said one of your least favorite parts was the part about the tech and AI. That was one of my favorite parts, actually.
No, I loved the tech talk. I just thought the cybersecurity stuff was weird.
Yeah, I liked that, actually.
All he was talking about was NFTs. And basically that's why NFTs have become a thing. And that's what he was really talking about. He was basically saying the technology has reached a point where you're not going to be able to tell the difference between an organic image and a deep fake.
Right.
And so what he's saying is that's why NFTs have been created. He didn't say NFT outright, but that's basically what he was alluding to, is that's what NFTs are.
This is Boomer Council, bro. What the hell is an NFT?
NFT is it's a digital kind of like a currency, but it's the image quality and it's the original image itself. So for instance, my new designs or my logos and stuff, the stuff that I'm putting on the shirts is all original art. And therefore it is, now that it is out there on the internet, it can now be manipulated and changed and this and that and the other. But eventually NFTs are going to be like a chain code. And that's what he was talking about. It's a code that signifies that this is an original image. And so for actors and stuff like that, their photos that are getting taken of them could be altered to fit whatever agenda is being portrayed in that article or that documentary or whatever. And so that person will hold the NFT or the chain code for that image and therefore hold original ownership. It's like a master for a record.
Man, so it really is some chain code stuff. Okay.
Yeah, he was really talking about the future, and that's what the future is. That's why NFTs have become such a thing. That's why people are buying them from the NHL, from the
future
NBA.
Is now.
Is because it's becoming a real thing where the deep fakes are becoming more and more
like so far out of my zone of concern in life. I just like that's why I thought it was kind of weird. Like, I totally get it from their standpoint where that would be important, but for me, it's like, shut up and talk about Luke.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, man.
I mean
Yeah.
he's just talking about the future of image qualities because they are, and like he said, this technology is available to anybody. It's not like Disney holds the patents
Right.
on any of this technology. That's
Well, I
why
mean, Shamook went in and made a better version of what they did right off the bat, like a week later. It's
but
like
that's why I
clowns.
hired him, because he downloaded the technology and implemented it better than their people, and with probably a lower version of what Disney owns.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? Did you see that control panel that guy had in that closet?
Well, yeah, I mean,
Mhm.
that's what I mean. They're going to put that dude in a room with the ILM guy that did this and be like, "How did you make it better?"
That
Yeah.
computer system was at least 1.7 million times more sophisticated than what they used to land on the moon.
The Lola. That's the name. That's what they call it, the Lola, right? Isn't
But
that what it was?
I don't remember. I remember the egg and the sound,
Mhm.
but
No,
Mr. Nerds, you were finishing up there.
Yeah, so I will refrain from digging too deep into that because that's this kind of stuff I think Obsession and I we geek out about that. It's like I loved hearing about that, but I mean overall I think there were some very clear nods um just to the fandom, in regards to how things have been, on social media the past year. And so it was kind of cool to see that and it was just cool to hear a lot more from John as well. I feel like we hear a lot from Dave, and there's nothing wrong with that. But it was cool to hear from him directly.
Mhm.
And then I think the only thing it kind of made me laugh. It didn't bother me, but at first I was like, what the fantastic director. But when he was like, yeah, I think Plo Koon's from the prequels.
Yeah,
I think maybe he was in like the prequels or something.
I had a real problem with that. I feel like the documentary team, the editing team, the producing team, they really threw that dude Peyton under the bus, right? Like those are
But
bites.
why?
Well, but they could have taken that stuff out to not make him look like an ass, right?
Okay,
Like
I see. So
you know,
they just they could have done a better
they didn't.
job.
I don't
pulling
think
it
they
out.
baited him. I don't think that they intentionally made him look like an ass during the interview. But I think in the edit, where the producers are in the edit and they go through the final edit, I think keeping those moments where he didn't understand Star Wars was a bad judgment call, right? Because
Okay, I can understand that. I mean, I didn't really take it as like, oh, what an ass. When I saw
I totally was like,
Flash the screen.
what are you doing?
How
Like I
dare
even
you?
said it when we were watching it. I was like, what are you doing? Why would you put that? Oh, I think he's from the prequels. He might be a Jedi from like that just made him look like he doesn't really understand Star Wars, right? I mean, everybody else in that room knew who Plo Koon was, right?
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what I'm saying. And then there was another bite also where he said something that didn't make sense. And I'm like, why would the editors and the producers allow this if they're trying to make this a positive short documentary? And that really bothered me from because I don't think they went in there with the intention of like baiting him into those questions. I think that they asked him questions and they could have done a reshoot for that question. They could have gone to another question that they had asked. But I feel like leaving those two pieces in there made Peyton look like kind of an asshole.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It was kind of weird seeing that, one thing I did started thinking about, kind of started firing some things off where I'm like, would they bring Plo Koon back? Like
No.
his death was pretty wild.
His
but
death
then
was
but they
aerial.
were like,
In terms of like deaths that have happened, I think he and Maul are pretty much like on point with each other.
yeah, but the thing is that they were like, oh, if there's leaks because of the way they were filming other stuff and they had that skeleton crew and everything was Plo and even the concept art and stuff where it's like, okay, well, if it got out, people would be like, oh, Plo Koon's coming back. But I'm like, they were okay with that as an option.
Right.
Even though it would be a red herring, which I'm like, I don't know. Just the stuff we've seen, even with Maul being brought back, it's like, I wonder if that's a possibility.
I mean, he super died, but so did, like Kylo Ren should have died for sure when that tie went down. Like same.
Well,
But
I mean,
different.
same thing
But same.
Gideon. I mean, same thing from Moff Gideon. That TIE fighter ends up on the ground. He's dead, right? There's no,
Yeah.
I mean, there's no real inertial dampeners at that point when you're crashing. Like, come on.
Not in a little ball.
I actually
yeah.
have a Moff Gideon question.
Okay.
Why did he not just use the hatch at the top? Why did he use the dark saber?
Wasn't it upside
to
down?
Get it out. Mm-mm.
No, I think the hatch was at the top. Yeah.
Maybe he was just pissed.
He's like,
maybe it was stuck.
Yeah, hatch could have been
He's
stuck.
that'd be a sweet deleted scene.
right.
He's like,
Yeah, trying to mess with the hatch, and he's like, I guess it's time. Do you like my dark saber noise there?
Yeah, that wasn't.
that was okay.
So I want to go back to what Charlie said, because that was, I mean, for me, that was the first few seconds of it were absolutely my favorite, where you can tell he's basically addressing the fans dead on. He's addressing everything that's happened with YouTube, everything that's happened on Twitter, everything that's happened with everyone, and saying that if there's one thing I've learned, it's that people are very emotionally invested in this and they just want to see it handled in a respective manner.
What was I telling you guys? What have I been telling you guys for months? They're just as much as we are. They're just as fans as we are, right? It's not like they're corporate stooges that just got brought in to come and do this and that. Like, they're fanboys.
You mean like Kathleen Folgers Kennedy?
You know, like when George walks into the room
exploded,
and Favreau hands him Grogu. Like, you can see there is a literal kid in his face. You can see it, right? And I feel like that's why. And I appreciate what John said. I appreciate them bringing John out, but they did the same thing with Gallery last time. He was the narrator for the most part. He was the one telling, we brought in these directors and this is the volume. And so I feel like him addressing the fans directly is great, because again, you guys never hear from him. I did notice, I don't know who said it. So I had a big problem with this when I was watching it, and that all of R2's paneling was green.
It had to be for a blue screen, right?
Well, it was because the blue screen was being used, and any of R2's parts would have got lost in the blue screen behind Luke.
Right.
So yeah, I think they painted it green so they could color correct the whole thing. But at first I was like, what the hell is he green? And then I saw the blue screen behind, and I was like, oh, that's volume technology behind him.
How mad were you when you were watching this?
It seems like you were very upset the whole time.
No, there were a lot of good parts, but that Peyton thing really chapped my ass. I was like, that's just bad producing. That's just bad editing.
It's weird that slipped almost unnoticed to me. I mean, a little bit. I'm like, what? How the fuck do you know who Plo Koon is? And then it was like on to the next thing.
Yeah, that was the one thing that I kind of felt like they could have protected their directors a little bit. Those guys catch a lot of heat as it is.
Yeah.
And they're under a lot of scrutiny, a lot of pressure. And I feel like, kind of putting that stuff in his own words out there was just reckless. And so
I see where you're coming from, for sure.
I mean,
what you're saying.
They should be protecting those directors, especially if they want to use them more, because Twitter is ruthless.
Yeah.
And YouTube is ruthless. And if people really want to shit on this guy, this is what they're going to use to shit on this guy. Right. And so that's I guess that's my point, is that
no, I didn't. Interesting.
I did like that they used a 26-inch blade when they were doing a lot of those scenes.
You know what? So that was the one thing I noticed when I was watching the episode for the first time, not the gallery, but actually watching the episode, was that they didn't extend it in one of them. And he had the super short blade. He had that, NeoPixel blade. And I thought it looked super weird. He's got the 30, I think it's like a 36.
I think
32.
I think it's a 31, because usually 36s are for like 6 foot tall, 6'2" and above.
Right. And so he's like fighting away, and then it cuts to one scene, and he's got this little like Shoto saber. I'm like, what the hell is going on here? But I didn't notice this. This is cool. So Graflex, if you don't know, that's that one. That's Anakin's saber. And apparently when they were blocking the scene, which I don't know what that means because I'm not a cool Hollywood person.
Blocking is when the director comes in and sets the cameras in the positions he wants for the shot. So usually for a lot of these things, it's 2 to 3 cameras on every angle. So like what they did with the egg how it had 4 cameras in there. Those were the 4 camera angles for Luke's face.
And when they were blocking it, he had Anakin's saber for some reason. But maybe they made like a last minute change and they're like, no, don't use that. I don't know. Yeah, not Luke's, which is the one. Yeah, obviously the one he builds. The only part that made me mad was the KK force damage control message, but I just brushed it off not to ruin the moment. I was kind of in the same space when I was watching it the first time. I'm like, whatever, I don't really care. But I noticed the second time around, it's at 7 minutes and 57 seconds, John is talking about Kathleen, and then it very clearly cuts to a different audio take. The audio is different. You can tell the location's different, and then it continues to talk about Kathleen, which I thought was kind of weird.
Well, it's hard for those guys to answer those tough questions, right? I'm sure the producers were like, what do you think of Kathleen? And he's got to sit there for a second and go, how can I make this not be shitty? And so for me, he answered the questions properly. She is a great producer and she has directed or produced some really good stuff, but he didn't, and then they did kind of say, well, yeah, she was involved in the planning of this. Maybe they told her in a memo. I don't think she was had dialogue about it.
Right. And then she was also obviously non-existent in the episode. Unless I'm completely blacked that out from my memory. I don't remember seeing her in it.
No, sure. I mean, her face was in it a couple times, but they didn't interview her. They didn't, you didn't see her in a lot of the background shots. And right. I think that was more by design. I think it was more focused on, and I kind of agreed with what you said the other day that, look who went to Mark's house and talked to him about the project. It's the director and it was Favreau. So, yeah, man. And the fact that they split the crews to keep it under wraps. I mean, everything about it, the new technology they're using for deep fakes. That's what I'm saying. What is it? Shamook? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
He's gonna the lighting, the egg and Lola are gonna take his game to a whole new level. Right? Like that, the deep fakes coming up in Star Wars are gonna be epic.
Mr. Nerds, you've been awfully quiet down there.
Yeah, my thing with Kathleen Kennedy, it's hard because I have a conspiracy theorist bent in me, and so when there's radio silence, I start making up all these presumptions, And what's hard is I'm like, I just don't know, and it's at the end of the day, it's like, I don't know, it's just hard to gauge that stuff because it's like, hey, you know what? Episode 16 was great. And, if they have to do some political stuff in there to kind of save face, whatever, man, it was an awesome episode. I have no complaints about it.
Right.
I did see, not to kind of switch gears, this is actually a good point. Do you see that? It's like the first part of a paragraph from Lord Crit on the prequel documentaries. It's actually a really good point because they just show everything.
Right. It's not pretty and glossy.
Yeah, and it's actually, I mean, it's interesting, but it's a little more boring. The pacing's very different, but obviously that was a very different time,
Yeah.
But
well, and beyond that, this was meant to be a feel-good piece.
Yeah,
really.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
Because they already had the gallery out. I honestly don't think that this part was planned. I think it was something that they did after the fact, which I'm fine with. It was cool. It was really good to see. But yeah, I definitely think it was I don't think damage control, but like you said, a feel good piece.
Yeah.
Trying to ride momentum.
It was a happy vibes for sure.
Yeah.
And Reeves, the only thing we really got was just the music at the end.
I didn't even catch that.
It switches to Book of Boba music at the very end of the documentary, and the last 3 seconds, you hear that da-da, 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 and that was it. And it fades to black. I thought we were going to get a Boba trailer at the end of it, and so I was super pissed when the timer ran out and it turned off. I'm like, damn it!
That's funny.
I thought for sure we were going to get something, but
no, probably during Visions we'll get something. But But
I
yeah,
wonder on the episode with Boba.
The Boba episode.
and I think we'll get something during Visions.
That would make sense. Yeah, I'm down for that.
I
Okay.
think they should, if they're gonna go full on MCU style with like, even though they're not really, but like phases, and they're building towards something to that. What did they call it? Like that cinematic event.
Yeah.
I feel like they should do the end caps on everything. The end of a season, end capped for another show or movie outside of. So like Bad Batch should have ended with something. Obsession just went completely dark. He's like, I'm out of here. I'm out of this.
Done talking
conversation.
about Bad Batch.
But like that, I think that would be really cool because
That's how
even if
Marvel
it's
does
like a fifth, yeah, and it's so successful because I mean, people stay through the credits to watch them, and then people go crazy. And imagine if we got that on an unassuming documentary, and then it was like 15 seconds of the Book of Boba. Like, people would lose it.
100%.
I think they felt like they were giving us enough with the Luke. So
yeah, I see that.
I think they
You're wrong.
They gave us a lot of their tech. I mean, Favreau basically said, they're basically setting the plan, saying, "Hey, if you can do better, prove it." And so I kind of feel like they gave us a lot, and I feel like Visions could go either way, but I think either way, giving us a trailer for some of the new content during that would be more beneficial.
I just don't think enough stuff's really in post at this point, other than Book of Boba.
That's a good point.
I mean, what's really in post at this point?
I mean, technically Kenobi, because they finished filming. But I mean,
yeah, dude, they ain't gonna give us a trailer for Kenobi.
I don't think they're gonna give us a trailer for Kenobi until like December. What is it?
I'd be shocked if it was in 2021.
Well, the con is what?
Celebration.
The celebration is in March.
That's where it's going to be.
Yeah, that's what I think. So I don't think they're gonna just like drop something in holiday season.
I wonder if they're just gonna do, because we'll have Visions and Book of Boba, and that's it. And so I wonder if they're just gonna do like wall to wall trailers and releases.
I think 2022 is going to be. I think they're going to kick it off with a bang. I think we might get something. Well, I mean, Boba's scheduled for first quarter?
No, it's coming out this year.
December.
Yeah.
So they'll ride that wave into January, and then from there we might get something, in March.
Well, I was listening to Star Wars Meg, and she was talking about 2022 possibly having they're switching to Wednesday releases now. So every single Wednesday of 2022 possibly having some form of Star Wars content, which I'm cool with that.
I thought you were going to say, like, I heard Star Wars Meg say 2022 is going to be the year for Star Wars, and I believe it. Just to
she's been watching Obsession way too much.
I will literally burn this mother to the ground.
We start giving everyone else credit for
I will burn
issue 2022
dream to the ground.
You know what would be super cool though? Imagine if they did like a New Year's Eve like Star Wars ball drop, just like super unassuming, and just like right at midnight, just trailer. Like, I feel like that'd be super cool. Like, surprise people. Like, I don't know, man.
I think you got way too much faith in Lucasfilm to be doing something like that.
I'm just saying, if I was running things, that's how I would.
I'd say
that's how I'd do it.
I'd say don't give out any trailers. I'd say screw it. It's going to be such a banging year. Don't waste the time.
Yeah, but see, from like a marketing standpoint, for me, you're going to lose some of your casuals that way unless you keep the hype up throughout it. Us Sweaty is like, we're going to be there no matter what. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I haven't seen the Lego trailer yet.
What?
The Skywalker?
No,
saga?
I haven't
oh
seen
my
it.
God, dude, it's so good.
All right, I'm pulling it up right now.
So
I'm not going to get in trouble for that, am I?
No, I did a whole video on it that's still up. It's fine. And I showed
think the trailers are okay showing.
So Ubisoft's like, we're gonna put out an open world game, and Lego's like, hold my Lego bricks, I'm gonna go get this game.
Yeah, I think it's, and somebody said that earlier in the chat. Do you think it's going to be open world? And I think it's pretty much confirmed by the trailer that it is.
I think it's gonna be story mode to unlock planets.
Right.
So like you have to do the story mode on Geonosis to unlock that free world, right? You have to do the Rey Millennium Falcon to be able to get her in a jetpack on Jakku, right? Like you have to do the story mode on the planet first, and then after you've done that, I think it'll unlock the open world mode in that sector, so to speak.
Oh, you know what? I don't
The-
think I
The real
shared
question
audio.
is, how far into the game are you going to play? Are you going to go through
I'll play it all.
everything?
Yeah, I mean, I'm probably going to do the whole thing, to be honest with you, just out of respect for them.
Lego.
Yeah, for making an awesome 1 through 6, I'll play through it. Somebody worked hard on it. You know what I mean?
I just hope it's not like Luke and Obi. They're all like unlocked at the very end. Like
Should
holding
be
holding me
well,
hostage.
well, I'm going to play it, if at all possible. I'm going
I
to try
hope
to
they
play it
hold you-
canonically.
I hope they hold you hostage until the last scene of Luke floating away and his Lego brick cloak floating away in the wind, and then it's like Luke Skywalker.
You've unlocked Luke.
Oh my god.
I hate you so much.
Oh, they're gonna troll the shit out of you guys. It's gonna be great.
Okay. All right.
All right,
You ready?
I'm probably not even gonna get an Ahsoka brick, so it's okay.
Make sure you unmute your I love how this is all just for me because I haven't seen it.
All for you, buddy.
It's fun though.
Promise.
How
Promise me you
good
will
that
train
looks.
the boy. Yes, master.
I was once a Jedi Knight, the same as your father.
How did my father die?
Ready are you? What know you of ready? The rebellion is reborn today. The war is just beginning, and I will not be the last Jedi.
So dope.
Reach out.
Yeah. Okay. Wait,
I
hold on.
mean,
Don't leave this yet. Don't leave this yet.
You see how the
Yeah.
question marks are all there? I think those are undone story. I don't think the story's done there. So like he's obviously on Dagobah right now. So like Dagobah and Utapau are open, but there's still a planet in that sector that's still dark.
Camino's in there, and those are all core worlds, so it almost looks like you start in the outer rim and then
Look at the right-hand side.
Yeah.
You have like the galaxy, then you go to the planet level, then you go to
Well, you have the
maybe
sector.
like a region.
Because
and
like
then you
oh
go to, like,
yeah,
city.
I didn't even see that.
well, yeah,
so
'cause
it-
look in the top left corner, it says trailing sector, right? 0%. And then in the next scene with the map, it says another sector. It's the Geonosian Tatooine section highlighted. So they actually have labeled the sectors and then the planets within the sector.
So I wonder if you go to Geonosis and then there's like a Petronaki Arena area, and then there's like the plains area, and then there's
Maybe the tunnels. They might give us some of the Anakin Padme tunnel stuff with the droids in the
Yeah.
in the factory.
yeah.
I bet it's totally gonna remind me of like Sid Meier's games, like all the Civ games where it's like you have a massive map, but it's still controlled, but it's you have freedom within your area, but instead of like a top-down RTS, it's gonna be Lego.
Well, and
Pretty
dude,
cool.
too, something else I noticed. So we'll go back to that at 103. But look at how much more cinematic the cameras are as compared to the usual like top down. Look at how much more cinematic that is.
Yeah, it's unreal. Looks like a movie.
Reach out.
It kind of almost looks more like a
see right there, pause
third-person
it.
game, right?
See how it says the galaxy, and then
Mhm.
they're in the Naboo sector. right? Like every piece has its own name, every sector, and then within that sector you have your planets, your associated planets.
Hmm.
Right. I wanted to go look at the scale of that map too, because I haven't really done a breakdown on this yet. But so that's your Jakku map.
With Rey with a jetpack. That's what I'm
Yeah,
saying. It seems
very
like
clearly Jakku.
That could be one city
Right.
of a region of the planet.
right. And then that's what I'm saying is there could be this region, and then maybe you get to explore where we first see Ren holding the blaster bolt. Maybe that's a sector.
Right, and then like the Starship Graveyard or something like that.
Right. I mean, 3PO's rocking an ATRT or an STRT. Hoth.
Huh?
Hoth.
Yeah, Hoth's in there. Hoth's looking friggin'
Hoth's
juicy.
looking dope.
I mean,
Even
that could be Ilum, possibly.
Even the frosted
One
frame.
on a Tom
Super
Tom.
cool.
You never know. Oh, you know what? No, it does make sense because it goes prequels, OT, sequel. Yes.
Qui-Gon, baby.
Oh my god,
Big
I didn't
fish.
see that, bro.
What? That?
Oh,
That's
yes,
Isn't that fantastic?
yes.
Your guys' favorite?
Is the Kamino and dance party gonna be in there?
Better be in there.
The boy has no patience. He is not ready.
I am ready. Ben, I can be a Jedi. Ben, tell him I'm ready.
I'm gonna be gone off of YouTube for a little bit.
Pretty cool.
God, I'm gonna stream that shit.
So do
Yeah,
you think,
you're right. I should probably. do that.
I'm gonna literally stream every day I play that game on every planet in every sector and break it down and have a good time.
you
Oh
should
my
do a
god,
thing
chat.
where it's like you do not shave until you beat the game.
Oh, I'm down for that. I could do that. I'm gonna look like this by the time I'm done. So
I hope there's some pod racing. Looks like the Stanleys has.
There's
There-
pod racing.
yeah, and I think that was
There
in
has
one
to
of the
be.
other trailers that was there. Hey,
What's up, shapeshifter?
how you doing, brother? That Kenobi was out of this world. By
Yeah,
the
it
way.
was. So do you think it's gonna play like a traditional Lego game, or do you think they're gonna incorporate more like RPG, like Western RPG elements into it?
Dude, it seems to be like I was saying, even the camera makes it look more like a third person adventure game than like your traditional kind of more top down Legos or like, 45-degree camera angle kind of.
Yeah.
It's what it looks like to me.
Yeah, man. It looks like a lot of fun. So the most recent Lego game I've played is Lego Indiana Jones for the 360. So it's been a while since I've played any of the like I haven't even played the Force Awakens one, but I know that like the graphics and the gameplay has been like dramatically improved even from those
I played it.
to what's being
Yeah.
proposed to us.
I played it when that was right after Force Awakens. Everything was still pretty dandy. I'm like, let's check it out. It was pretty good, man. Yeah, I mean, the graphics were insane. This looks clearly better.
I mean, I own it. I've just never played it.
Yeah, it's worth a playthrough if you can make it through now at this point. Anyway,
Yeah, man, that looks really cool.
so yeah, I'm pumped for that. I'm super excited. We'll see if spring is even a thing. I'm hoping. It's been delayed so many times. I'm just gonna hope. I'm gonna hope that's what happens. But the other thing we were gonna talk about today. Now, if anybody is averse to any possible Kenobi spoilers, go ahead and click off. This has been, I'll call it internet confirmed, but you never know. So what we're going to be looking at here are some images. Now, this came from Star Wars Newsnet. Why is that floating in front of everything? Here we go. So this is basically talking about Hayden Christensen's return as Anakin Skywalker. And right in the beginning, they give you a please be considerate of your fellow Star Wars fans and don't publicly share this information. Like, yeah, right. So this is apparently confirmed. So this is from concept art. They talk about this weird. So this was this image is not a render. It's exactly as provided. So this was actual concept art, and you can see him there with some cybernetics. One for his heart. There's definitely one up in his sternum. It looks like maybe two for his lungs, and then maybe some digestive stuff here.
Yeah,
and then you've got the limbs,
like stomach beaters.
Yeah,
like in and out, basically.
So basically, they start out the article saying that Kathleen Kennedy made it a point to say Hayden Christensen will be returning as Vader, not Anakin. And so they're like, well, why are you hiring Anakin back if he's just going to be in a mask? Well, we're obviously going to get an unmasked Vader in Kenobi, for show. And then we get back to tank here. This was an artist rendering of an actual picture from the set. And I think something that gives some validity to that is like the 8-foot ladder standing next to it.
Okay.
Sure.
I don't know if you saw that. That's kind of interesting. And then the last bit is just his little breather. And I just thought it was so interesting because, like, call me crazy, but doesn't that look like Theories?
Similar. I mean, if
you go down that rabbit hole, huh?
If he's gonna have all of his mechanical limbs removed, and be in a Bacta tank, he's got to have a harness of some kind. Otherwise, he'd drown, or he'd never be able to get back out. They'd have to drain it,
right?
And, like, scoop him out with a spoon.
Can you imagine that scene? Him trying to claw his way out of a Bacta tank with his nebbies.
So I feel like the harness fits, right? Like
you're gonna, ting 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 on the glass.
You're gonna put in there, or like his head. He's like, "Let me out." But yeah, and then the tubes and all that. I mean, food.
Right. I feel like this is breathing. Like this would be going from his mask into his. Like when he's in the suit, this would be going from his mask into his breathing apparatus for his lungs. And then this would be like his feeding tubes here.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the heart, I don't know about the heart. That would be a good question for somebody probably who's been in the comics a little bit deeper. I didn't think this was very interesting. It's just kind of like it looks exactly like Rogue One, I think. Pretty close. I would have to go back and do a frame of that. But then they said in the beginning that Kathleen made a point to say that Hayden Christensen will only be returning as Vader, not Anakin. But then we see again at the bottom that it's contradicted again and saying that we're going to get some flashbacks.
Exactly. I believe she says whatever stupid thought comes in that little peanut brain of hers when it comes to Star Wars. Right. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm sure she's a great producer on other stuff, but I don't believe anything she says when it comes to Star Wars. She knows about as much about Star Wars as I know about brain surgery. So, yeah, they've already talked about clone armor, like Clone War armor for Hayden and Ewan. So I don't really buy any of her jibber jabber.
Do we know where there's rumors came from that we were going to see some Clone Wars flashbacks?
Probably
I thought there were leaked images of the armor itself.
Oh, okay.
I thought there was like something about one of the plates, something like that, and it was Kenobi's, I believe.
Okay.
But I can't tell.
I'm thinking back to those pictures that were leaked. Do you remember that? It was
where they're all wearing trash bags?
Yeah, and then the people were like analyzing the costumes. And it all seemed like post Order 66.
It definitely seemed that way.
I don't remember anything in terms of like Clone Wars, and I don't know that I've actually seen the armor photo leaks.
I haven't seen them either. It would be interesting to see. I don't know how you do a show like Kenobi, and if we're gonna delve into his psyche and stuff like that, where we don't see at least some stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I think you have to go back a little bit, because I think what it's trying to do, as opposed to it's going to tell a narrative, but I think the strength of the show would be more like capturing how hard it was in between episode 3 and episode 4, and just showing like, what was it like? Like, how did he go from the person we see in episodes 1 through 3 to the man we see in 4? But I think, even with that said, you have to go back. Like, there has to be a haunting
Right.
of, like, when he's looking over Luke, he's thinking of his dad and thinking about what he had to do to him. And, there's this constant threat. I think it's going to be like it's going to be like a mystery, like a film noir almost, where it's like there's this threat that's always there in the background and you don't see it, but it's just lurking. And, then I think we're going to get some like flash sideways stuff with Vader.
Yeah.
And I think if it's done tastefully and if it's done right, I think there's going to be these two parallel stories that go all the way to A New Hope. And so they don't ever cross. And it's like just trying to do what Rogue One did in that hallway scene at the end. It's trying to just like just amp up the original trilogy just a little bit more.
Well,
that's called the prequel trilogy.
Anybody even him looking in some fire and hearing Anakin scream, and then and maybe hearing his own voice, you were my brother, and then flash back to a moment where Anakin saves Kenobi, and one of those, like, I just see a lot of movement in the past, because this is him going through losing a brother, losing his family, basically, in the Jedi Order, and then having to go into exile while the people he was trying to keep from rising to power take over the entire galaxy. Right? Like, he's got a lot of weight,
while also constantly under the threat of possibly being hunted and killed.
Right. Yeah. And always looking over his shoulder and never being able to use his lightsaber, and having to figure out how to survive in a post Jedi world. Right.
We're getting Obi-Wan lightsaber 1,000%. There's absolutely no way he doesn't pull out that lightsaber at some point.
Well, and I think so. I totally agree, dude, because look at the when he's in the Mos Eisley Cantina. Like, there's a threat against Luke, and what does he do?
Yeet.
Boom. right then and there. And like, I don't think there's necessarily a reputation of that, but it's like, you see that it's like, one, it wasn't shocking because it's a cantina, but then it's also like, we're not going to mess with this guy. And I think that wasn't just a one-off, like, that wasn't Obi-Wan just like breaking his integrity in that moment. So I think we're going to see a lot of him getting, I don't want to say getting closer to the dark side, that's wrong, but almost creating some moral ambiguity in terms of protecting Luke.
Well, I think at that point in the cantina, he had fulfilled his mission, right? Luke's old enough to go out in the world. Ben and Beru are dead, or Owen and Beru are dead, and now he is taking Luke to begin his training as a 19-year-old, and I think at that point his mission had succeeded because he had received the message. It's time to come out of hiding.
Right.
It's time. The rebellion has reached a point. We need you. Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. And so his mission was complete. And now he's taking Luke out so he can openly use his saber at this point, because his give a shit meter is at 0.
Right.
I don't care if anybody sees it anymore. Come get me. I did what I had to do. We're going to take this kid and train him. So, I kind of feel like I've been saying this for a minute. I kind of feel like I don't think we'll see a lot of lightsaber usage unless it's very private, or very, or he kills everybody that saw him do it. Because I feel like anytime there's a lightsaber ignited in the galaxy, Inquisitors look, Vader follows. right? And that's like a big flare in the sky. Like, hey, there's a Jedi here. There's a lightsaber. Come check it out. And that just puts a big, that puts him on the spot. And I think that's what he's trying to avoid.
So here's my question I want to pose to you guys, because this is a discussion I've been having with Justin lately, because he is all for having Vader and Obi-Wan fight.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, you can't do that. Like, unless it's in some kind of a Force vision, like, you can't do that. And to his credit, he says we've skewed a lot of things that came in past dialogue before and been totally okay with it. But I feel like this is just such a pivotal line.
A bridge too far.
Yeah, it's a pivotal line. It's a really important part of the story. I don't want to see it.
Justin,
I want to see the fight. I just don't want it to ruin continuity.
I like Justin. Justin's awesome, but he wants to see it so he can make some hateful videos. Like, come on.
What?
Like he wants to make some click videos. Like, let's be real. He wants to get on there and like, I told you all. I told you we were gonna see these two fight. I told you. So yeah,
I want to see it in a vision. That's what I want to see.
I want to see the training droid.
There you go, Proxy. That would be a nice nod to all us Force Unleashed fans to see Proxy in there. I think that'd be really cool. Imagine him like fighting Obi-Wan Kenobi and Emperor's like watching him, and then the Emperor leaves and he tells Proxy to turn into Padme and just like breaks down. Oof.
Well, and I mean, he used that droid. He used a droid similar. I don't know if it was Proxy, but I know he used a droid similar in the temple as he would go through Obi-Wan's fight with Maul over and over and over and over again. So he was very accustomed to using training droids to spar with. So I think that's what people are going to see. And I think they're going to show us that maybe at a beginning of an episode or something, where it's just going to hit you in the face and you're gonna be like, holy crap, they're actually fighting. And then you're going to see him cut the head off the droid and it, turn into the droid and not Kenobi. And then
imagine if that's how it starts, like episode 1, it just like poof, cuts to it and they're fighting like crazy. And then, he cuts the head off the droid.
That would be amazing. That would be an amazing way to just kick it off and be like, oh, we told you they were going to fight. Yeah. Right. And just here it is. And Vader cuts the head off or slices him in half or something awesome. And then he just, picks a droid up with the Force and throws it in the corner with the rest of them and starts over again. Almost like Captain America with the punching bags in the gym in original the first Avenger. So I think that's going to be the scene that they're boasting about them fighting. I think it's going to be either in a droid or a vision.
I'm thinking Inquisitors too. A lot of people in chat are saying Inquisitors. I totally see an Inquisitor thing going on. And didn't somebody get cast already for an Inquisitor?
Yeah, the dude that plays Han in the Fast and the Furious. I don't know.
What?
Yeah, that's the guy they cast for the fifth brother, I believe. The one that's in Rebels, the big one. That's who they cast for that.
Big boy,
the big dog.
I don't know. That makes it. He's not a very big dude, is he?
He's like 6 foot. He's like over 6 feet. He's a tall guy.
Oh, okay.
And,
right.
Interesting.
He needs to swole up a little bit, but just go spend some time with The Rock and Vin Diesel and some juice, and you'll be right up there.
I think I'd be super down if they gave us a Twin Sons ending at Kenobi. Like we get a little bit of a time jump, and we have to get Kenobi and Maul and Kenobi. There's no way they don't do it, right?
I don't know. I don't think they're gonna do. I don't think they're gonna do Vader and Obi. Because I feel like it's going to, me personally, I don't even think that they're going to do it in like a vision or a proxy or anything like that. Because I feel like it removes so much tension. Well, let me phrase it this way, maybe. I hope they don't do it because I feel like that just deflates the tension because it's something that a lot of fans want to see for the fact that it would be cool. But I feel like keeping that tension where it's like you keep thinking something's going to happen, but it can't.
Right.
Think about Clone Wars and Anakin and Grievous, right? You look at episode 3 and you're like, they cannot meet. And there's times where it's like how it's going to end, but you're like, how is this going to work out? Because the narrative is pushing them closer.
Of close calls too.
And then it's boom, and they separate.
Yeah.
And
there's like escape pod or something like that. Like he
Mm-hmm.
just dives in an escape pod to avoid Anakin. It's crazy.
Yeah, and it's masterful because there's nothing wrong with the prequels and that story and the first encounter, but
Right.
then Clone Wars just adds that weight to it. And so I think Kenobi's going to do that. It sounds weird because I mean it is a movie, so I don't want to act like it's some like holy grail thing, but it is hard to touch A New Hope like that. But Rogue One did it well, and I think Kenobi can too, where there's this tension that will keep building. So then when you rewatch it, you're like, oh yeah, that's really cool because I remember all these times they almost met. But then when you're referencing Maul, I mean, it would be super cool, but I think, they talk about the Vader problem. Whenever Vader comes on screen, everybody's attention goes to him, right? Story's out the window. Same with Luke. I honestly feel like I just feel like it would detract a little bit since we already have that story told in animation and it was done,
Right.
I think, flawlessly. Again, the fan in me is like, I want to see it all. I want like real time everything. Maybe not his like eating and pooping and stuff, in Kenobi, but like real time. I want to see everything that he's ever
like
done.
Survivor Man, but it's Kenobi on Tatooine.
He sets up a camera and like walks.
Hey guys, super hot out.
If we see Maul at all in this show, I would like to see Maul killing the Duchess. If we see
in like a flashback where
where he's watching it.
Yeah.
That's what I would like to see. Like maybe he's in Mos Eisley or he's somewhere
drinking.
He sees a couple, walking by or something, and he kind of has like a flashback of the moment Maul kills Satine. Like for me, that's what I want to see because that adds to that PTSD. That adds to that that trauma that he's living. And that if we see Maul, that's what I would like to see. I would like to see Maul if we're going to reenact anything from Clone Wars Rebels and take it out of animation and make it live action, that's the one I want to see.
So, all right, let me just because I want to toss this off you guys and call me crazy, but do you think it'd be interesting to see him basically like, we have to break him down at some point, right? So what if he's on Tatooine and he's watching him grow and he's like, he succumbs to Tatooine, right? He goes to the bar, he gets way too drunk, gets out of line. He's just thinking about Sabine. He's thinking about everything. He's just smoking some death sticks and somebody says something and he gets way out of line. He ignites his saber, something bad happens or something like that, right? And then he wakes up in the morning with a hangover like, fuck, I really need to focus on my mission. Like I can't fail Qui-Gon. Or maybe that's when Qui-Gon reaches out to him and is like, you're not doing what you need to be doing right now. Dumb?
Yes.
Really?
I hate that.
Why?
I do.
You want to go buy some death sticks? I want to go buy
not the death sticks part. No, bury the death sticks part.
I don't know. I just don't see. I see Kenobi as being strong in A New Hope, and I don't want to have to see like the rehab of Kenobi.
Right.
Like, to me, like I would rather see if there was some kind of breaking. I would want it to be right after he gets to Tatooine, and you're seeing like you're getting a picture into the chaos of his mind and all of that. Like, I mean, if you had one episode where even the sound design, think about this surround sound, like you're hearing these whispering of voices.
Mm-hmm.
The editing is chaotic. Like literally it's just an uneasy hour watching this just so you can feel how he felt. I would rather have something like that than like
definitely more of a mental exploration than just like getting drunk and becoming overly emotional.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to see him. I wouldn't want to see a defeated Kenobi. I would want to see like a disturbed Kenobi. I'd rather see that.
This is an interesting point. Having to stand back and not help people, which is his first instinct as a Jedi. That kind of goes back to the Ahsoka book when she doesn't do anything until the last minute and then uses the Force. Same with Cal Kestis. Yeah. Same thing.
Yeah, they were. I mean, but I feel like it was a little easier for the younger Jedi, the Padawans, so to speak, to go into hiding than it was somebody like Kenobi that spent a lifetime helping people.
Right.
Kestis had just started. Really, I mean, at that age, he's a talented young Jedi, but he's also a kid, and kids tend to adapt a little easier to their new environments. And I feel like even the same thing with Ahsoka, she was still, a teenager when she walked away from the Order. And so I feel like it's a little harder for adults to deal with that kind of trauma and to stand back and watch people getting beat, or the Hutts enslaving people, or things of that nature that are going on in the Outer Rim. So I want to see all of that. I want to see him break. I want to see the mental anguish that he goes through wandering through the desert, maybe like Maul, kind of going mad a little bit. And maybe that's where he has a moment much like Maul in the desert while he's searching for Kenobi, and he's, trying to talk to Qui-Gon, and why won't you talk to me?
Ooh, that could be cool. Like his training is not going the way he thought it was. Yeah, just kind of losing it.
And he can't feel anybody in the Force, and maybe that's what breaks him. And
he's got to repair his connection to the Force.
Well,
kind of a Cal Kestis thing too.
He can't feel anybody. I'm not saying repair it because he's in full faculties of his abilities, but I say like he can't feel Yoda anymore. He can't feel Anakin. He can't feel Ahsoka. He can't feel anybody because everybody's hiding. And so maybe the loneliness really breaks him, and then he's like, Qui-Gon, where are you? And yelling in the desert, or maybe even in his hut. And then at his last hour, maybe he's going to, do something reckless like you're saying. And Qui-Gon comes to him and, I expect more from you, my Padawan. Kind of a moment.
I just had this thought with, I think it was Star Wars Discovered said like a Vader
I like this
Tatooine mission.
If he's closed off to the Force, though.
But I was just thinking, like, can we have Vader in any capacity, himself or sending others, to Tatooine? Like, I feel like the first place he's gonna go to,
and they're gonna sense Luke immediately.
Yeah, so I feel like,
I mean, what a better place to hide Luke.
Like I can't.
What a better place to hide Luke, because Kenobi knows Anakin, and he knows how much he hates
sand,
and he hates and he hates the slavers, and he hates the Hutts and everybody. Like my mother's buried there, right? And Vader's not going to go back somewhere that makes Anakin even feel right. Anakin's in a cage at the bottom of the soul, so to speak. So, I feel like that's the last place Vader would ever go.
100% is Tatooine.
I mean, he does when he's searching for Luke after the initial Death Star blows up, because they have that Boba and him have that moment where they're fighting, and then Han gets away. Like, so he absolutely does, but he's only going to go there if there's 100% Kenobi is there, right? And I feel like that totally screwed, because he would never leave Tatooine again if he knew Kenobi was there.
Right.
He would bring his entire armada and have them bring his Bacta tank onto Tatooine somewhere so he could get...
We're going to find him.
We're not leaving until we find him. Scour the desert. Break out the comb.
Yeah. So, anyway, I mean, dude, that's something we could go on probably forever on stuff that we want to see. And I almost hate talking about it too much, because then I'm going to start like really wanting certain things. And if it doesn't wind up that way, you're like, fuck, I had such a better idea.
Okay, well then let's go a little further away then.
I've got a great one we can go on.
Let's go a little further away.
You ready?
Let's go. No, let's wait. You two instigators.
I'm just saying.
Let's go a little further out. Let's go to, we've heard casting for Ezra. We've heard casting for Thrawn. And we've heard all those rumors. I like that somebody picked up on that. We've heard that they're in final looks on Sabine right now, from what I'm hearing, that they might be looking to cast that character very soon.
Yeah, I think they had three options. They picked one of them, clearly.
Yeah, so they're very close to casting a large part of that show. So what is the... I'll wait till he's done playing with his toys. Oh, he's got a carbonite fridge.
That's sick, man.
That is so ridiculous.
You totally just did that to flex.
Yeah, you totally just Carbonite Han Solo fridged us.
You're like,
That's where my beer
And you
is.
did it. You literally did it so nonchalantly. He's like, oh, he's talking. Hold on, I'm gonna take off my headphones and
Fuck you guys.
oh, man.
I don't even remember what I was saying. That totally derailed me.
I don't remember either, man. It derailed my
totally
train of thought. Oh, you're talking about casting Sabine.
Oh, okay. So
yeah.
So you know what? Any thoughts? Because that's really, I think that's the one the furthest out from everybody's mind right now. I think it's Boba. I think it's Kenobi, and then down the road. So, you know, we know Boba's in the can. Kenobi's pretty much done. Probably pickups and things like that. So are they going to start shooting soon?
Sorry, for which one?
For Ahsoka.
Ahsoka doesn't start filming until after Mando season 3, I think.
I don't know. They're starting that soon too.
Let me find out for you.
I think season 3 is just about to start shooting its principal shoot.
Schedule? Perhaps.
I have a question about Ahsoka, particularly for you, Obsession, about the show coming up, Ahsoka.
Mm-hmm.
So when you watch Clone Wars and you watch the anthology style, and you see that it's pretty true to Star Wars in terms of like the content that we were given. And then you look at Rebels and they took big risks and they tried big new things. Personally, I like all of them. I think it paid off, that risk. I could see how it turned some people off, but I like it. Do you think Ahsoka is going to go maybe the more safe route, kind of like Mandalorian, like give us live action that's safe? Or do you think they're going to take it like, hey, we're going to do some crazy stuff like Rebels did, and we're just going to go out into some unexplored Star Wars territory?
I think I think we're going to get a lot of background first, because a majority of the people that are watching don't really know who she is. Right. So they have to, with a show like that, they have to give some kind of context to her. So I think we might get some of the stuff from the book. I think we might get some of the lightsaber.
You're talking about Ahsoka?
Yeah.
People aren't going to know who Ahsoka is?
I think he's referencing like how many people got brought in through Mandalorian.
Yes.
Oh,
and that Ahsoka may
okay.
have the same kind of influence. Like, hey, this girl was in Mandalorian. I'll check it out.
I got
right. I think there's going to be, and that's why a large focus of the content that I do is based on her, because I think as we get closer to that show, people are going to start doing a lot more background checking on her.
Playing a long game.
Playing a little long game. But I think that they have to give us some of the stuff out of the book to give the viewer some context. You know, if you know, they got to show us the white lightsaber builds, right? They're going to show us, you know, some scenes with Sabine and maybe some flashback stuff.
I thought he was talking about Ashley Eckstein.
That's what I thought too.
For Ahsoka, I'm like, don't do that. That's not going to be good.
But I do think that they're going to. I think they had to do a little bit of background stuff. So I think there is going to be some maybe some of the stuff from the novel that they give us, and then bring us into the fold on finding Ezra and finding Thrawn, because I don't think she's really looking for Thrawn. I think she knows that Thrawn.
She's looking for Ezra.
She's looking for Ezra. She's looking to fulfill her promise, and I think that's what the whole show is basically going to be about: is the promise Ahsoka made and how she has to keep it. So,
do you think Ezra will be come back like Dark Ezra?
No, man. Oh, man. Do we want to start on the Thrawn path?
But
we could do the Thrawn path.
Think about the episode in Rebels with Kanan and the Grand Inquisitor. and he's saying, I mean, literally, he basically says that he's going to end up being dark. Like,
Well,
he's going to get pulled to the dark side.
He was baiting him. I mean, he was more trying to throw him off balance and
It's
make
a mind game, bro. That's what the
Mm.
Sith do.
But I feel like, if anything, I feel like Ezra's going to rub off on Thrawn more than Thrawn's going to rub off on Ezra. Right? Because Ezra, in my opinion, Ezra completed his trials when he sacrificed himself for the greater good. Right? The same way the Force gave Kanan his vision back. Ezra's self-sacrifice. I feel like that was his grand trial. So at this point, he's a Jedi. And I think above the influence of what Thrawn, I don't think he can be played by Thrawn at this point, because he checkmated Thrawn at the end of Rebels.
Yeah.
So
Which was slightly frustrating.
Slightly frustrating, yes, to all of you Thrawn fans.
Yeah.
But I feel like at the same time, he kind of checkmated Thrawn, and I don't think he's going to fall for any of Thrawn's shit. And I think that Thrawn, we might get a little bit more Ezra rubbing off on Thrawn than the other way around.
So I think, if I can just put my 2 cents out there, Thrawn does not give half a crap between the light side and the dark.
Yeah.
That's not at all his MO. He doesn't care if you're a Sith. He doesn't care if you're, I mean, even when he was talking to Anakin or Vader when they met back up again, he knew that Anakin was Vader when they met back up again. He doesn't care what side of the chessboard you're playing from. The only thing that Thrawn cares about is protecting the Ascendancy and stopping whatever big threat is coming. That's why he's only ever tried to build up the Empire, because in his wild space or core universe, the Empire is the only power that can help stop this other threat that's coming. That's the only reason he's working with them.
Mm-hmm.
So I think what probably happens, and everybody's saying that Thrawn is going to be the big baddie when the stuff comes out, they're probably going to start that way, but I think they're going to develop it into them all working together in a cinematic, what do they call it, event, where they're going to have to fight the Grisk. Everybody's going to have to come together and fight the Grisk. It's the Thanos. It's the bad guy.
I kind of feel like the cinematic,
like Loki. He's Loki.
The cinematic event that they're talking about is going to be the war to retake Mandalore. I think everything we're seeing this year is going to lead to
It can't be that small.
I'm not saying that that's where it's going to end, but I'm saying to build a formidable army at this point, right? Like, because we kind of know where they have to go, but there's such a long journey that it takes for the First Order or the new whoever it is at this point in the Mandalorian. It's what, 5-6 years after the Empire's gone, and so you have these Moffs and these factions of the Empire still lurking around.
Yeah, warlords.
Right. So I feel like, maybe a Mandalorian army might be a more formidable army for Thrawn to take into battle, right? Because the Empire, I mean, the plastic armor, the inability to, hit a target. The Empire, although was powerful, was sloppy, right? It was just about numbers, outnumbering your opponent. It wasn't really about outskilling them. And I feel like a large Mandalorian army that's taking out the Empire might make Thrawn go, it's like a 10-1 here. 10 Imperials to 1 Mandalorian. I could see something like that playing in, and him, basically saying, okay, well, maybe I was wrong with the Empire. And then trying to persuade the Mandalorians to see the big bad that's coming. You
I
kind
don't know.
of
I kind of see both. I've sided with X-Wing for so long on the Grisk theory, just about that I feel like that the way things are playing out, I feel like that's where it would make sense something massive like that playing out, and especially paralleling business decisions with the MCU and things like that. But then it also makes sense, I guess now. I'll be honest. At first, when you were saying, it, I was like, nah, I don't think so. But then when you're saying it, it's like, well, that very well could be the big, because they didn't say a movie, they said a cinematic event.
right.
So that's very interesting verbiage that they're not going to waste. But I mean, with that, there is Star Wars right now has so many loose ends that aren't tied up. So I can see that they just keep doing all this stuff to point to one thing, which opens it up. So I mean, if we're kind of skipping over some stuff and getting to what that is, I mean, I almost feel like this. I want the Grisk ending, but I feel like the safer business decision is what you were talking about, Obsession. So I kind of
Why
I kind
couldn't
of see
one
both.
lead into the other? Right?
Same.
Why
No, I see both sides too.
why can't it be both? Why can't we do the Mandalorian? Like this is kind of what my short is going to be about, is basically, Din Djarin uniting the clans of Mandalore. And right, that is kind of a little bit
It's a good point.
right, but
I think it's because they were fractured. It's
Yes.
because they were
Right. There was no Mandalore.
So
Right.
I think that's been the plague of Mandalore, and so they need a ruler, and that's where
Din Djarin.
that's where season 3 of Mando is going to come in. I mean,
and that's what I believe. I believe Din Djarin is the William Wallace of the Mandalorians, and he's going to unite the factions and create and bring all the Mandalorians back to Mandalore, and to unite all 5 clans, 6 if you include Death Watch, all 6 clans of Mandalore, and to make them unite under one, and that being Din Djarin.
Certainly
Right.
makes sense if you take in part everything they've been saying, but I almost wonder if that's more of a story that's going to be handled before the big cinematic event. The only reason I keep going back to the Grisk, and there's a reason why, is because they've released new Thrawn trilogy, which normies aren't going to read. Okay.
Right.
But you have to realize they've put 2 books out reaffirming the fact that the entire reason Thrawn is doing what he's doing is to combat this oncoming issue.
Can you put Aeromol's second to last chat up?
I will, right after Matt Cave. I can't remember anybody's name in those books. I'm not going to lie. He's the one that talks like this in the audiobook and he's really scared. Yeah. That's pretty much what I remember. And when I go back to the 3rd book, I'll remember again. But
So this is a classic quality,
like Aragorn.
of exactly of hero, the unwilling hero, right? The unwilling leader. I don't want to lead. I just want to be a bounty hunter. I don't want to go out there and I'm nobody's leader, right? That's the classic hero's tale.
Yeah.
And Din Djarin has said many times that he doesn't want to be a leader. He just wants to do his thing. And that's
what makes him a perfect leader.
Right. Bo-Katan is literally drooling and snarling and rabid at the mouth to lead the Mandalorians. That's what makes her unfit, is that she is literally obsessed with it.
Sabine, though.
Sabine doesn't want it. She's even said it before. She gave up the Darksaber.
Same thing with Din, too.
Right. And Din tried, but the laws won't allow it. Right. And so Bo-Katan already broke the rules when she took the Darksaber, technically. And maybe she got crucified for it on Mandalore before Moff Gideon took it. Right. Maybe that's how she lost, is that the Mandalorian stripped her of it because she didn't win it. And that's why she was so adamant about winning it from Moff Gideon, because she had to solidify herself as the ruler. So I kind of feel like Din Djarin could end up being possibly the king of Mandalore, or maybe the lead general of Mandalore, and unite the factions And then what if Ahsoka and Luke and Grogu and Thrawn and Ezra and Sabine and all of these characters are behind an army of Mandalorians fighting the Empire, and then Thrawn's like, yeah, let me get on the side that's winning. Like you said, he only cares about power. He doesn't care about the Empire and their beliefs.
Yeah, but Mandalore doesn't have anywhere near the amount of firepower that even the Imperial Remnant has. They got soldiers, but they don't have the firepower that the Imperial Remnant does, especially his fleet that he's still clearly working on.
What about this? If we're thinking about Mandalore, and in particular Din's ability to fulfill that or not, what if they and track with me for a second, like what if they end up using Bo-Katan as a, like they just turn her into a baddie and end up actually like killing her off or imprisoning her? Like what if in this jealousy, this I guess this drive for her to control Mandalore and to have Din fulfilling that position interim, while she's trying to vie for the throne. Like what if she ends up getting like Death Watch and Children of the Watch, basically the extremist cults? It's like I'm gonna lead my own rebellion and take over. And if Din is forced to choose basically between his people and between all of these people that he's now met, and like his eyes are opening and he ends up, I mean, I don't think they would kill her, but it's like, what if it's just like a forever imprisonment? Like, and he's forced to step up in some capacity.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I don't think he doesn't want to. He doesn't want to lead. He tries to give her the Darksaber, after he won it from Moff Gideon. What if Thrawn still has control of the 7th Fleet? And he brings the 7th Fleet with him. And turns
Matt Cave, really quick, you said the new Thrawn trilogy. The new Thrawn trilogy is when he's in wild space. I thought that's what we were talking about. Yeah, Eli Vanto. He sounds like a little country boy. I love Eli Vanto. Yeah, Thrawn sent him to go work with the Chiss in wild space. So now he's working on a ship with the Chiss that he might bring the Chiss army with him. That would be insane. Like the Chiss Navy shows up to fight the Empire or something. Like maybe, Thrawn ends up siding with the Mandalorians and dipping out from the Empire, and the Chiss army shows up to back up Thrawn against the Empire remnant.
Well, and correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think it's been fully explained who's running the Imperial remnant, because you have the First Order doing its thing, which I think is going to be relegated to this small extremist faction in Star Wars. And then you have the Sith cult on Exegol and all that stuff. But I don't think it's been fully explained even who's running. I mean, they have like the Moffs and stuff like that.
Wouldn't it be kind of like Tarkin said on the Death Star in Episode 4 after they disbanded the Imperial Senate, that the local governors will be in charge of their areas,
Yeah.
So do you think it's like that, or do you think that's
what's going on? It's basically like warlords vying for power.
Yeah.
At this point, there's no central structure.
Yeah, I think
I've always wondered if
their own territory.
I've always wondered if, I don't know, maybe this is a terrible idea, but if Thrawn would maybe be used in such a way behind the scenes with this Imperial remnant, like you find out like he's the one who's actually been behind all of these small things. That's who they're reporting to.
Well, and that would be cool, because it would be cool for them to find their way home, and then maybe he's got Ezra. They're going to find him, and maybe he's got Ezra in prison, or he's in a torture chamber or something like that. Because he's always found the Force to be an enigma. So maybe they're kind of put him in one of those mall type of boxes where, he's kind of trapped or something. I don't know. It just feels. Go ahead.
What if Ezra ends up being like almost like a Vader type, where it's like you are reintroduced to Ezra in this dark fashion, and he's Thrawn's right-hand man.
Cool.
And then there's this inner conflict where he ends up turning against him. I don't know.
That's cool. I would love to see Sabine break out his green saber against one that Ezra made in the time he was gone, that would be super cool.
Yeah.
You know, because they've sparred before when she had the dark saber, and so they kind of know each other's way.
Mhm.
I think that's cool as shit. I would also like to see her maybe start off with a Beskar staff that Ahsoka gave her,
Mm.
and that's what she's carrying. But you know, kind of like Kanan did, she always has Ezra's lightsaber hidden on her body somewhere, just in case, you know, she keeps it close.
Mhm.
So it would be cool to see her use the Beskar staff if they do fight. Let's say Ezra and her end up in a combat situation. It would be cool to see her use the Beskar staff at first, and then once she gets bested with that, she breaks out his lightsaber, and then that's kind of the moment where he remembers who he used to be. Almost like if it was almost like a Revan thing, like he's got amnesia or doesn't remember or something, or brainwashed by Thrawn.
Mm.
You know,
Yeah.
or somehow controlled by Thrawn or something. And then he sees his lightsaber, and as they're dueling, she's like, Ezra, this is your blah, blah, and goes on to this thing of trying to bring him back to the light. That would be a lot of fun, you know, or
Yeah.
Ahsoka saving Sabine and then, you know, trying to reason with Ezra and finally just beating his ass and then spanking him and putting him in a box and putting him in timeout until he comes back from the dark. I mean, there's a lot of different ways that they could do that, but it would be fun to have Ezra turn a little bit because he was already a little prone to the dark side as it was.
Yeah.
You know, he
'Cause
was
he was-
full of a lot of anger.
And he was interested in, especially Maul got to him, and he was interested in studying both sides to
Right.
figure some things out.
Yeah, it would be a fun way to get to Ezra. It would be a fun way because everybody's expecting it to be a happy, you know, happy shiny people reunion. And I think that would be a fun, interesting twist is that, you know, maybe Thrawn got to him while they were off on their little adventure with the Purgle. And then,
Yeah.
you know, he you know, finds a lightsaber, bleeds the crystal, gets all dark, and then Ahsoka and Sabine. It would be really cool to see him actually take his green saber back from Sabine and double yield like a green and a red,
Mm.
and then fight Ahsoka and Sabine with a Beskar staff. Like that would be a fun scene.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Push out.
I wonder if they're gonna go. I feel like the direction Star Wars is going right now is very similar to Harry Potter, where each movie it gets darker and darker and longer, and you're required to know more. You know, whereas I feel like Marvel, there's so much happening, and there's some lighthearted like Guardians of the Galaxy, you know, and then there's some very darker movies. But I wonder if towards that cinematic event, it's just going to keep getting heavier and darker, and we're just going to see something crazy where it's like, you know, like poor Ahsoka. Now she had to deal with Anakin in Rebels, and now she has to deal with Ezra
Mhm.
and Ahsoka, and just all this stuff just keeps coming at her. Because at the end of the day, like Filoni is centering his stories that he can around Ahsoka, not in a negative way, but it's like you can definitely tell I said this in our little group chat, you know, it's like that's his Luke.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
like George's Luke is Dave's Ahsoka. And so it all has to hinge around her because she just keeps coming into all of his stuff.
Well, and she's, you know, I guess the thing about her is that she holds no allegiances, and I think that's where
Right.
she becomes, you know, her own person and becomes this Ronin, where
She does in a way, though. I feel like she's always inherently held an allegiance to the good, the way she perceives it. You know,
I think that's the daughter. I think that's that.
Right.
I don't think you can
the
help
more
it.
I in her.
Yeah, I think it's the daughter's influence in her soul that forces her to not be able to watch people being hurt. So I really think that the daughter's influence, and that's something else that might be fun to see in Ahsoka, and is, you know, a little Morai conversation, or maybe the daughter, you know, for, you know, a minute can transform back into the daughter through Morai and have a conversation or something as a Force ghost or something, because Morai is like super legit special, right? I think it almost feels like she can fly into the world between worlds and pop out wherever she wants. It's crazy how she
can.
pops.
Yeah, 100%.
But like it's so to see some of those conversations, you know, maybe one with Morai, or the daughter, you know, as she's giving her soul up for Ahsoka, they have a conversation, and it's like, you're never going to be able to go to the dark. You're now pure, right?
Inherently, you are the light side.
Yeah, you are the light now, and it's going to weigh on you, and that would be cool, you know, because I think there's Ahsoka, like you were saying, is Dave's creation. It's much like Luke is George's grand creation. And it seems like, yeah, he's a little partial to her, but I also feel like she is the only Jedi in the universe that binds the old with the new,
which leads us into
well, and this is the other part of what Peyton said, is he was like, well, nobody knows any of the Jedi in that room. Nobody's ever seen a Jedi. And it's like, Bo-Katan worked with the Jedi for years, bro. Her sister was banging a Jedi.
Yeah, that's a very true statement, and that's not something I thought about, that they were like, oh, it's, you know, it's Luke Skywalker, but inherently they don't know who it is. It's a mystical creature. I'm like, dude, Bo-Katan's been...
Yeah, Bo-Katan knew her father, or Luke's father. Like, let's be real. And the Padawan to Luke's father. So that's what I was saying earlier. That's what made me remember it right now was...
I hear you.
Is that they really could have protected that dude a little more, because I could see him catching a lot of hate over the next couple months, just because you're the director of this awesome show and you don't know shit about Star Wars. Like,
if he catches hate, then just ignore those people, because like, find something else to do.
That's what I'm saying.
Seriously.
I just wish the story team would have just protected their director a little better. That's all I'm saying. I think they could have done a better job by just cutting those two things, finding a couple better sound bites to use of his, and move on. But instead, they put in those two things that he could eat some crow over, unfortunately.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, and believe me, no, Obsession knows more. I was there. Show.
Okay. So go ahead. Go ahead.
Here it comes. Here it comes, chat. I want to hear. I want to hear what your guys' thoughts are. This is something that we. Where did this start? Did we start it in? What did we? I think we started it in Discord.
I started it in Discord.
You started it in Discord. Yeah, we were in the VC.
I dropped a grenade and I left. It was.
Oh, fun. And how perfect is this? Funny you should say that. We want to talk about who would win at the time of the season 2 finale of The Mandalorian. Who would win, Ahsoka or Luke Skywalker, in a
all right
lightsaber duel?
Chat,
being able to use the Force.
Chat, before we get into this in a heavy way, you guys give us your opinion. I don't know how many people are in here right now. But okay, so 30 people. So 1 for Luke, because he's number 1, and 2 for Ahsoka,
because she has 2 sabers.
Because she has 2 sabers,
and she's going to be number 2.
Who wins this battle? And before we start this, my argument from Jump Street was a swordsman, just like Luke and Yoda used to go have duels, and Kenobi always told Anakin, only in your mind are you a better swordsman than Master Yoda. So that's what I was saying. But go ahead, gentlemen.
Matt Risman's only saying 2 because Luke stands for hope. He stands for the rebellion.
Peace, justice, overall happiness in life.
The American dream.
Yes. Okay. So here, let me pull this up, because
we need to add the poll feature in these chats.
Okay. Because we were talking about this a little bit. Okay, so this is what we're giving you guys a little bit of a privy BTS for the Boomer Council chat in Discord. So what I said, if when it comes to lightsaber forms and swordsmanship, advantage Ahsoka. When it comes to Force abilities, I think big advantage Luke. When it comes to strength and stamina, advantage Luke. Speed and acrobatics, advantage Ahsoka. With all of that in consideration, end of season 2, Mandalorian, I think Luke wins because I feel that he is stronger in the Force. I feel like he is stronger physically, and I feel that when you saw him kind of giving into the dark a little bit in Return of the Jedi and losing it, and just his strength increasing, and you see the progression of him from A New Hope to Return of the Jedi and how quickly he's going without a real master walking him through things. By the way, it's like you have, yes, Yoda.
Well, I
and
mean,
Force Ghost Obi, but
Force Ghost Obi, Force Ghost Yoda, Force Ghost Anakin. I mean, this is what a lot of the chat was saying, is that Anakin's basically training Luke at this point.
But as opposed to what Ahsoka had, being in the Jedi Temple and out on missions and things, I feel there's a big difference. But I really feel that Luke, I don't feel like he would own her. I feel like it would be close, but I feel like the edge would go to Luke, and he would that he would win. I cannot see a way that Ahsoka, unless it was some kind of like, and hear me out. Like, I'm not saying like Ahsoka sucks, but I think it would have to be some kind of freak element of surprise that would happen to basically like something falling and pinning Luke.
Or distraction, a distraction of some kind.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's my thoughts.
So I'm gonna address the Ahsoka losing to Vader.
Okay, because I brought that up.
A couple people brought that up.
Okay.
So number one, when Ahsoka was fighting Vader at the beginning of their duel, before he force pushes her off of the temple, another reason why Mace Windu could be alive if he wasn't unconscious when he got thrown off, but that's a topic for another day. So she comes back as Vader is pulling Ezra and the Sith holocron towards him. Ahsoka runs up and slashes Vader across the face, right? And cracks his helmet and opens up. At that point, before he says her name, Ahsoka is trying to avenge Anakin's death, right? Revenge is not the Jedi way, right? She is out for blood. She wants Vader's head. And she wants to put it around a necklace and wear it, because that's the dude in her eyes that killed her master. And so she is out for blood. Now, when she slashes his face and tumbles away and he says Ahsoka, the little girl in her comes out right then. And she can no longer try to hurt him. She is simply defending herself against his attacks. And when she force pushes Anakin, Vader, back, and she puts her sabers into the ground before Ezra grabs her, she's trying to trap them both in the temple below. Right? So she's willing to sacrifice herself if that means they both go down together. So for me, she wasn't trying to win in the second half of that fight. So to say she got bested by Vader, I don't agree with that. Because in the first half of the battle, yeah, he bested her, he pushed her off the thing, but he didn't have a direct line to kill her. He just, get out of my way. My focus is the holocron. And when the holocron was no longer accessible, he was out to kill her. And she wasn't. So they were playing two very different games the entire time that they were fighting. So I don't really agree with the fact that, well, Vader just beat her ass, right? I don't really agree with that. I think the second half of that fight, she's not really trying to kill him. She can't kill him. She can't hurt Anakin.
I'm with you 100% on that, but I want to give my little 2 cents on this. So the other night when we were talking about it in VC, you said, I'm just doing what the storyteller said, right? I'm just working on what the storyteller said.
That's correct.
Okay. when she was attacking the town, she was having to put work in on 2 assassin droids, right? She was having to ninja and jump and run away and play the ninja for it. Luke, Mother F, and Skywalker took the elevator and just opened up the door and owned a room full of death troopers, just like it was walking through, I don't know, the kiddie pool. Just gets to the end and he's like, you know what? I haven't had a soda in a while. Just like crushes the soda can and drops it. And he's like, what are you guys doing? Is that the kid? All right, we got to go. Like, you want to talk about owning a room, walking in and just having nothing that can challenge you? That was Luke.
Okay.
Whereas Ahsoka was definitely given a challenge when it came to, you know, the village and who she had to fight and what. Now, I'm not referencing the fight at the end, because if that were the case, then Luke would just walk in and just.
Well, and I really think that she was more toying with that woman than anything, because as soon as she lost her saber, she's like, oh, I guess I'm a little too cocky. Let me finish this shit. Right. And it was over in seconds after that. Right. She gets her saber knocked out and she's like, oh, all right. And she, boom, you're done. So, I mean, that fight, I feel like Ahsoka is overconfident and just being a cocky little shit. But she did, you know, she beat Maul. And she beat Maul, I think, at the end without her sabers. Right? I mean, just bobbing and weaving and using the Force. So, I mean, 2 very different fighting styles, 2 very different, you know, at this point, Luke is using he's stretching out with his Force abilities. But I feel like, look at Ahsoka during the purge of during the siege of Mandalore, when she jumps out of the ship with Rex. Oh, I didn't bring you a parachute. Don't need it. Race you to the bottom.
Yeah.
And in that moment, you see her literally destroying Mandalorians, not some petty droids. I said, that's right. Droids, not Mandalorians.
Look what one death trooper did to a Mandalorian.
But
literally picked him up and pushed his head into a Durasteel wall.
And still got beat by a Mandalorian. Still, that one trooper got beat by a Mandalorian, and she took out a plethora of Mandalorians while falling out of the sky, let's say. I'm just saying, the skill sets are largely different. It's tough to say we know Luke is more powerful because obviously he's got a higher metachlorine count, and
was trained by Yoda.
Trained by Yoda for a very short amount of time, but so was Ahsoka. Trained with Master Yoda, like all the younglings did. Had instruction from Kenobi, Mace Windu, Plo Koon. I could keep going if you want.
Well, here's something I think about Ahsoka. All of these references, I feel that Ahsoka shines when she has an opponent weaker than herself. Like if we're gonna pit Mandalorians versus Jedi,
she's a Clone Wars Jedi
on top,
yeah,
all
she's
the
a Clone
time.
Wars Jedi.
I think when Ahsoka struggled the most is when she had an equal or someone stronger than her, and there had to be wit and intellect, and she had to fight very, very differently, where she would be more strategic because she knew her own shortcomings and there was things that she couldn't stand up against, just coming at somebody like she would if somebody were like a Mandalorian, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, it's just thinking about like her and Asajj, right? Like there was definite struggle there where she would just own people left and right if it wasn't somebody like Asajj. I feel like where Luke can hold his own better is as somebody at the same strength as him. I don't think there's much above him, but it's like, you know, people who are right there or right close to him, who are very, very skilled. I feel like he can hold his own really, really well.
He cut his teeth on Vader and Palpatine.
Yeah, but at the same time, with again, I go back to Vader was powerful, but at the same time, that wasn't you know, out of suit Vader. That wasn't the Vader that fought Kenobi, right? So I kind of feel like Vader not being able to lift your arms above your head is a huge disadvantage in a fight with a skilled Jedi, but Luke tapped into his rage at that point. So I feel like, does he need that rage to reach to reach his potential, so to speak? Right? Where Ahsoka is calm, cool, and collected the entire time. Does Luke need that little bit of rage to push him to that next level, so to speak?
He could be like a total Vapod practitioner. You never know. I mean, he might be tapping into some dark side energy without ever crossing the line.
And without even knowing it, maybe, right? Not even really knowing what he's doing because he is so powerful. I'm just saying it seems like any time that he is well, the one time we saw him be successful against Vader, he was furious.
Pure rage. Yeah.
Pure rage, unadulterated rage. And does he need that to be that good is what I'm saying. Does he need that addiction to be that good? Does he need the drug? Does he need the steroid? Does he need that to be that good where Ahsoka doesn't? So if Ahsoka doesn't piss him off during the duel, does she win? That's, that's kind of the direction I see it. Is I love Luke, and I think Luke is an amazing Jedi. But you're also looking at the only Jedi that was a youngling during the Clone Wars, got taught by the best Jedi in the council, in the Order, along with Yoda, Kenobi, all those others, survived the Purge. Well, survived the entire Clone War, then survives the Purge, then survives the Empire, then survives the After Empire. The woman's got more skills in her bag than he does. I'm just saying. She technically knows the Force more, not better, more than he does. Maybe not have as strong a connection, but she definitely has more knowledge and experience.
An understanding of, I would say, for sure.
So I think I would not disagree with you or Filoni in terms of her knowledge and experience and how I feel like, I don't know if people are upset by it, but I feel like the comment he made wasn't about anything other than just like, hey, in terms of all Star Wars content, she has more experience, and people forget that. And I think it draws back to the whole people don't really know who she is.
Yeah.
But I feel like even with that, Luke's strength and his power, I feel like that far exceeds Ahsoka. And so and I think that's why it would be a close match. But I feel like where there'd be so much more form and technique and things would get really, really intense on Ahsoka's side. I feel like Luke doesn't need that. He does have form and technique and all of this, but I feel like it would be like a boss level that you can't beat. And it would just be like, he's just too powerful. Like there's just no way. That's kind of where I sit.
I agree. But at the same time, we thought that about Palpatine too. And he got bested by not the best swordsman and not the best, most powerful of the Jedi. So I feel like that, power levels are important, but just like Luke says when he takes Grogu, ability is nothing without training, and she has that in spades. And I agree. He looked amazing. He looked very Anakin, not Vader. He looked very fucking Anakin in that hallway scene.
Extremely Anakin. Yeah.
Very Anakin. But at the same time, I feel like Ahsoka had definitely dueled with Anakin many times in their training sessions. And so she knows that form.
Oh, yeah, she might know some of his tricks. It's kind of like Obi-Wan fighting him.
Yeah. And I feel like at that point, once she kind of sees the style, she dissects that, because she even still probably dreams about and looks at the holocron of Anakin explaining his forms. So I just feel like she's just got too many tools in the bag, and she definitely has to train harder to accomplish the same skill level. But at the same time, I just think she's got too much on him. She knows the form. She knew Anakin. She dueled Anakin. Anakin taught her everything she knows. And so she's going to know some of those tricks on how to counter his moves. And so I just think that Luke gets frustrated by the duration of the battle, because I think that battle goes long and deep, much like Anakin and Kenobi. And I think he gets frustrated by her over time. And that's the only reason I think she could win, is she's just got a lot of tricks and she's very crafty and she's good at, like Kenobi, she's good at poking you. Oh, if you wouldn't have lasted long if Anakin were here. Sure, our lucky Anakin didn't show up, right? Like there's so much, she's so good at poking the bear. I just think she's, I know that pisses a lot of people off. I've probably lost 3 subscribers on it already.
Oh, we lost like 8 people.
And to me, that's easily a big deal. But yeah, I feel like, I just feel like that's, coming from Dave, who's sitting with George talking about these things over a soda or a scotch at the end of the night after a hard edit session. I feel like when they talk, these are the things they talk about. He wouldn't say that without it having been a subject of conversation in the past. That's all.
Right.
I just feel like he's having the conversations with George and John and all the people that know lore way better than us. And I just feel like for him to say that is a really big deal, because he's so vested in this stuff and he's so at the core of it.
All right, Mr. Nerds, give us your parting words. I know you got a piece out. I'm going to flex super hard again.
Oh,
I want to see it.
Off when you said that.
I want to.
Oh, you want to see it? Okay. All right, let me do it.
How did he flex before? I'm confused. Oh.
You need to. Oh, he can't hear.
He can't hear. Hold on. I'm gonna get him in a second. Hold on.
Why, you stuck-up, half-witted, puppy-looking
You calling Scruffy?
I was gonna say you need to get a camera set up at the beginning of every stream where it can just be you opening, and
I think you need to put that GoPro I sent you inside of there with a.
That's probably a really good idea. Yeah,
and you can have
so that you can see your hand going in for the beer, and you can cut to it.
You can have a fourth person. You could have a fourth or second, or however many person in your stream. That's just the GoPro in the fridge, and you can have like a donate to fill the fridge.
Oh, just like 16 angles on just the fridge.
Yeah.
The fridge.
As it fills the spotchka. Every time somebody donates, it fills the spotchka bottle.
So, yeah, closing words from me. I think we can all agree that Obsession is wrong and Luke is better, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Just objectively, Obsession's always wrong.
Pretty much, yeah.
No, but yeah, I mean, I think this is the stuff that's actually really cool about Star Wars right now, is that there are, I feel like it's getting less negative. I feel like there's some really cool stuff coming up. And I mean, even something like Visions, just like not really knowing what to think of it at first, but then watching more stuff, I'm like, it's actually looking pretty cool, So even something like that, to be able to,
Stop.
You did it. You're just flexing hard on stream, man.
Well, congratulations on to you and the missus on your 800th subscriber.
Oh, awesome.
803
Thanks, man.
you are now.
You just hit 800?
You just hit
I guess
803.
Skeet! No way. And if
He's
anybody in the
he's
chat
on your
is
tails.
not already, anybody that's here, go subscribe to Star Wars Nerds. They put out content literally twice a day. Something I could never even dream of doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you want to keep up on awesome Star Wars stuff, please go subscribe over there. 100%.
Thanks, man. And thank you, Obsession. And next one, yeah, it's it is a lot. So if you don't like notifications, just don't turn on all notifications.
And don't go to their Discord, because twice a day you're beeping.
Bing. But yeah, man, it's just been a lot of fun to dive more into Star Wars. It's been therapeutic in a sense. It's been really cool. But yeah, with that, I'm gonna go spend time with my son before he goes to bed. But it's been awesome hanging out with you guys.
Another beautiful council, man.
Oh yeah.
This was
All
a
right.
good one. This was a fun one. All right, Mr. Sir.
All right. See you
Be
guys
safe.
later.
May the force be with you. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's a wind down, man. Yeah. I just I like this stream a lot too, because it felt like I think Matt Cave said it best out of anybody. It was like peak nerddom. We're in like peak nerd mode, just going all the way down to the bottom. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, and that's,
love it.
it is, I don't know how to really describe it. The whole reason I do this, I'm really not ever going to monetize this channel. There's really probably not, it's not a large goal. I enjoy doing this to get this stuff out of my head.
Yeah.
And that's, for me, that's more what it's about. Don't get me wrong. I love the subscribers. I pay attention, but I'm not like, I want you guys to get there, right? I want you and the nerds to get there, to get your 1,000 subscribers, to get your watch hours, hopefully get on there without any strikes. And yeah, so I'm here to support you guys. So watching the nerds hit 800 is super rad. And I'm excited for you guys. So let's
Chugging right along.
Yeah, let's get you to there. You're like 119, something like that, 117 subscribers away.
I don't know.
You're at 883. So
Nice.
you're right there on the precipice. So anybody, if you're in here who hasn't gone over there yet, get over there and hit the subscribe button on these two guys, and let's get them to 1,000. Let's get these guys monetized so they can start doing some charity streams and start putting the money where they want. And it's great to help other channels with the charity streams and with stuff like that. But I'm looking forward to you and the nerds being able to do that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
you guys have put in a lot of work. The nerds are doing stuff twice a day. So how they're banging that out is,
bro. Yeah, I don't know. With a kid and a job, I don't know,
bro. And then you're everywhere. You're on everybody's stream.
Yeah. Speaking of which, anybody who's in here, I don't know if you guys follow or if you're a fan of Star Wars Santa. Santa and I are going to be finally doing a stream on Saturday, early in the day for us Pacific folks, kind of early afternoon for you guys on the East Coast. So I'm really excited to talk to him. I hope you guys show up. I'll make an announcement about it so everybody can see, what time of day and everything that's going on. But I am super pumped to talk to Star Wars Santa. He's like me. He's a Thronophile. So I'm really excited for that.
Yeah, dude, that's awesome. We were supposed to do a stream with Kat this week, but she got busy. So we'll probably end up doing that next week. She finished her Ahsoka book. So we were going to talk about some Ahsoka stuff and some art. So that's coming up next week. So pay attention there. We got some more merch coming out. So there is more stuff there. Go check out the Etsy site. I wanted to do it on Etsy to make it easy for everybody. Everybody can pull up that app. You don't have to go to a website and all this jazz. So go to the Etsy site. It's on the page. And pick up some merch. It's been fun. We're doing more. We're having a good time with it. We just came out with an R2 shirt.
Nice.
And we're going to do sweatshirts and all that stuff. And now that the winter's coming. But
those R2s are sick, man. Yeah.
The R2 one came out really cool. It looks awesome in white, but it looks super gnarly in black. I just ordered 2 black ones for me and my better half. It is her original artwork. It is my better half's original artwork. She painted that picture that we modeled that and used that off to create that shirt. So it's an
trolls
original.
are coming in.
Oh, good.
Trolls in the dungeon.
But yeah, so get over there, get some merch. I'm gonna be doing some toy stuff coming up. So maybe I'll have you come join me. I'm gonna do some I've acquired. I don't know if you guys are paying attention in the background, but there's a little guy right there that I've acquired.
Nice.
And then no one's really paying attention to this side, but where's my little guy? There's another little guy right here, my little Dio that I picked up that we're going to be doing some videos on. So, and there's more coming. So we're going to do a bounty hunting section where we go out and look for treasure in the real world. So I'm going to take you guys with me, and we're going to do maybe some live streaming on some bounty hunting. And that's yeah, man, that's about it.
Nice.
So
Good
yeah,
stuff, man.
stick around. And if you haven't gotten out there, I know there's a bunch of us, but if you're watching this stream later and you haven't subscribed to X-Wing or the Two Nerds, let's push these two guys over, these two guys and a girl. Let's push them over the edge. Let's get them the 1,000 subscriber. Let's hit that big monumental number, and then maybe I'll start trying to focus on my own channel and getting some more subs. But I am always looking for any way to help you guys out. So let me know if anybody needs anything. But yeah, we're gonna get you there real soon. I told you it was gonna be before the summer's over.
I appreciate you, man.
So we got
All
a
right,
week,
well,
guys. Don't make a liar out of me.
I got to address my peeps, the last little bit of peeps left in the chat. So stick around for a minute, would you?
Yep.
Okay. All right. I don't think you need to worry about that anytime soon. I just wanted to address anybody who's left in the chat and just say thank you, guys. Thank you so much for showing up. Thanks for listening to us nerd out. I started this channel about 5 months ago. I think now it all kind of seems like a blur. But just having you guys here, talking to you guys in the chat, every direction this community has gone, seeing all you guys kind of grow, start your own thing. I'm watching people grow around me every single day. I just want you guys to know that I appreciate you and I love you. Thank you so much for being here. You have no idea how much it means to me. Being able to come home after work at the end of the day and just nerd out and have all you guys here with me nerding out it's been the joy of my life. So thank you guys so much for being here. Thanks for tuning in to Boomer Council. I love you guys, man. I appreciate every single one of you. So I hope to see you again next week. Thank you for tuning in. And don't forget, I hope today finds you well. I hope tomorrow finds you better. And may the force be with you